My name is Jared, and this is the story of how I went from a completely broke South African to earning millions of rands just posting simple videos on YouTube and creating a life that honestly most people dream of. Now, I grew up in a very average household. We weren't poor, but we definitely weren't wealthy. I didn't have connections, I didn't have a family business waiting for me, and I definitely didn't have some secret cheat code that I could just copy paste from someone else that I watched growing up that would essentially make me a ton of money when I left school. But I always knew deep down that I didn't want to follow the traditional path of leave school, go get a degree, and get a job. And now, years later, I work for myself, I earn in dollars, and I live in South Africa. Now, before I get started with my story, I want to be clear that this video is not to brag. The goal with this is just to show you can be a completely regular person and transform your entire life if you just put a little bit of work into something online. It doesn't matter where you're located, it doesn't matter what your starting point is. If you're willing to put in the work, you can change your life. So let's start at the very beginning. So I grew up on the East Rand of Johannesburg in a place called Benoni. And for as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be something extraordinary. I never wanted to be something regular that's easily attainable. I always wanted to be a rock star or a WWE wrestler or a professional skateboarder. It was all these things that were almost unattainable or very difficult to achieve. They were always extraordinary, always in the limelight, and always came with a sense of freedom or a ton of money. And I don't know if that's all kids, or perhaps it was just me and that's why I've gone down this path. Maybe all kids think like this, but most people's dreams just get squashed throughout life, whereas mine didn't. I'm not really too sure, but I always wanted to be something crazy. But those were all just hopes and dreams as a little kid who wanted to be something. But when I left school, I had absolutely no clue what direction I wanted to take in life. So I went with my love of music and decided I would try and become a sound engineer. So I left school in 2012 and went to study at the Academy of Sound Engineering in Johannesburg. That only lasted around 6 months before I dropped out and decided that that wasn't for me at all. And I still don't really know if it was the industry that I didn't want to be part of, or if it was just the confinement of having to study and having people tell you what to do and how to do them. I never really wanted to conform, if that makes sense. So I'm not too sure why I dropped out. All I know is at the time, I just didn't want to do it anymore and decided that it wasn't for me. So 6 months in, I drop out of college and I decide I'm going to try and make money. And that was where I took my first steps into the business world, and I decided to go with real estate. I thought this is an industry that I could technically run my own business under the umbrella of a company. And I could potentially make a ton of money because commissions is around 8% on a sale. And if you're selling houses for millions of rands every single month, that's adding up to some decent cash. But I was just a kid and I had no clue about the real world. So going into that, I was completely immature, completely inexperienced, and I didn't do well with it at all. I think I only sold one house for the entire time I was a real estate agent. But then again, thinking back to that time, I think I was more interested in partying, getting wasted with my friends, and having a good time than I was in trying to pursue this business that was going to change my life and make me money. I think it was just the stage I was at in my life. But I still had this desire inside of me to make a bunch of money. But I hadn't ever considered the online space as a place where I could make that money. I always thought of making money as this thing that you had to do something physical or get a job or work for someone or become something in a tangible field, something that's in front of you. You actually go there every day. I never really thought of the internet as this marketplace to make money. But here's where my mind completely shifted. I was busy doing real estate and a friend of mine mentioned something to me about binary options. He said, "Have you seen this thing? You can go online, trade Forex currencies and make money. It's this thing called binary options on a website called IQ Option." So I thought, okay, let me have a look at this. I had a look, I watched some videos and I thought, wow, you can actually make money online. You can just log onto this website on the internet, click buy or sell, set a time limit, And if you got it right, you'll make money. And in my mind, this was the first moment where I realized, wow, the internet is this place that I can actually get money from. I don't need to go out into the real world. I can sit at home with my computer and make money. And again, being completely inexperienced and not knowing what I was doing, I thought I am going to get so stinking rich from this because I can see videos on YouTube, people showing you how to just guarantee win this thing, make a bunch of money easily. So I almost immediately, went into work at the real estate company I was working at the next day and quit because I was going to be a binary options billionaire. I was going to be the first billionaire under the age of 21 in South Africa, if that's how old I was. I can't really remember. But yeah, I decided I'm going to quit that. I'm going to focus on this binary options thing because you can make so much money doing it. So my mom lent me $470, which at the time was around 8,000 Rand. And the reason it was that amount was because I had come across a strategy called a martingale strategy. It's basically where you more than double your bet every trade. And the concept behind it is you're not going to lose more than 8 trades in a row. So if you continue to double your bet on losing trades, you'll just make your money back when you eventually do win. It was a foolproof system. I was going to become loaded from this. So the first day I did this, I made $70. And this just further reinforced my mindset of, wow, you can make money on the internet. And it was this moment that really took me from hopes and dreams to realization and actual goals. I was on cloud 9. I couldn't believe it. I just made more than 1,000 Rand in a single day from the internet. This was more money than I had been making pretty much ever. I remember telling all my friends how rich I was going to be. I was promising people supercars and Rolexes. It was crazy. I was so sure of myself until the next day. Because the next day, I was up a few dollars and then boom, I lost the entire $470. My world came crashing down around me. I couldn't believe this had happened. I was about to be rich, and now this was just taken from me. But that didn't really matter, because at the time it may have felt like a failure, but now I realize this was the first moment that led me to where I am now. It made me realize that I can make money from the internet, and it lit a fire in me to make it happen. And it was there and then that I decided I was never going to give up on this online money-making dream that I had just developed. And this was probably around 2016, 2017. This was the time where Forex trading started to boom in South Africa. Everyone and their cousin was a Forex trading guru, buying GTIs and RS3s, showing you how they flip accounts from $100 to millions of dollars. So that's where I shifted my focus from binary options to normal Forex trading, which I basically tried for a number of years. I even went and got mentorship from guys that turned out to be complete scam artists, but at the time I was completely unaware. I just saw the money, the cars, the things they were buying, and I thought, wow, I want to learn from them. They're doing it right. Little did I know it was my payment to them that was funding this lifestyle. But again, lessons were learned. I figured out that you can't trust everyone in the online space, and not everything is what it seems to be. Always judge things with a degree of skepticism. But anyway, I tried the Forex thing. It ended up not working out. I never really made money from it. I then shifted my focus to dropshipping, which was the next big thing that I discovered online. People doing e-commerce, buying products from Alibaba or AliExpress, putting a massive markup on those products and selling them on their own Shopify stores. I also attempted this for a short period of time. Didn't really make any money. I wouldn't say I lost any money either. I probably ended up breaking even. I made a bit, I lost a bit, I made a bit, I lost a bit. You know the game if you've been in that space. I didn't really crack it with the drop shipping. And at this point, I'd been trying to make money online for a couple of years and it wasn't really working out for me. So then I had a realization. I had been doing this for so long and I developed so many skills along the way through the marketing things that I tried to put together for my drop shipping, through the websites I had built, and all the other little ventures alongside my Forex and drop shipping journey. I'd picked up all these skills and I realized there are companies that are willing to pay people to run their ads for them, to build their websites for them, and to do branding for them. So I thought, why not start a digital marketing agency where I help other businesses build out their stores, build out their websites, and run their advertisements? I can pocket a bunch of money off of something that I already have proof that I can do. And this was at the end of 2018. So going into 2019, I started my first legitimate registered business. It was called Digital Leads, and the concept was simple: build websites for companies and then run advertisements to those websites to generate leads for those companies. And this was the first thing that actually worked for me. I made a little bit of money, nothing crazy, but during the course of 2018 was where I started finally seeing results in the online space. And I couldn't be happier because now I knew I have something that makes money. It's all about scaling it now, which I basically attempted to do for the entire year up until the end of 2019. And this is where everything changed for me. It was the Rugby World Cup, and I'm a massive rugby supporter. Don't know if you could tell, but I was watching the Rugby World Cup and I felt inspired. So I thought, let me start a YouTube channel about rugby. There's a ton of interest. I could potentially start a channel, maybe get it to the point of 10,000 subscribers, because at this point I've been growing social media accounts as well for businesses. So I kind of know how to do that. I'd done some marketing videos for companies, so I kind of knew how to put videos together. I thought, let me start this YouTube channel. Let's see if I can get it to 10K subs. And then maybe I have companies reaching out to sponsor the channel. Maybe I make a bit of bucks. So I started my very first YouTube channel in November of 2019. And little did I know what that would turn into. So I uploaded my first video and it pretty much went viral instantly. It got hundreds of thousands of views within the first month or two. It got me my 4,000 watched hours that I needed to monetize the channel, and it got me over 1,000 subscribers, which I also needed to monetize the channel. And I had no idea how this YouTube ad revenue thing worked. I didn't think that it could make you so much money, to be honest. I thought I need to grow this channel and get sponsors. That's where the money is. I had no clue about ad revenue. So I applied for monetization. I think it took me a little over a month to get monetized on that channel. And January 7th, I want to say it was January 7th, was my first day of ad revenue on that channel. And if you understand how YouTube works, you'll see your ad revenue accumulate over the course of the month, and then it'll only be paid out to you at the end of the following month. So while I saw the money accumulating, I didn't even believe it. I kept my same skeptical mind that I developed through being scammed in Forex and through dropshipping not working for me. And I thought, there is no ways this money is the money I'm making. I'll believe it when it arrives in my bank account. Fast forward to the end of February, I received my first ever payment from YouTube, and it was the lowest amount I've ever made since then. It was around 7,000 Rand. But at the time, 7,000 Rand from this YouTube channel felt like I had won the lottery. Because it was in that moment that I realized I can make simple YouTube videos. I can scale that. And over the course of years, the compounding effect of all the views on the channel should make me a ton of money. So I stopped everything that I was doing and I went all in on YouTube. I stopped the digital marketing. I'd already stopped the Forex and the dropshipping, so that wasn't anything to worry about. But I stopped the digital marketing business immediately. I was running it with a friend of mine. I told him, you can have this whole business. You can continue with that. I need to focus on this YouTube thing because I can see how much money it will make. And at the time, I did it all for free. Remember that. I didn't pay for anything. I had a free video editor because I had a MacBook, so I was using iMovie. So I made the videos on iMovie. I found royalty-free music on YouTube to use, and I made the videos completely by myself. I didn't pay anyone for anything. I used Canva to do the thumbnails. There was no paid services, no paid subscriptions. Everything I did completely for free. It was only once I started seeing the money come in, I upgraded to Adobe. So I was using Premiere Pro as my video editor at that point when I started making money, and I was using Photoshop to do the thumbnail design. And that's where I saw a bit of a gap in the market. I decided I was going to go all in on the design work. I was making really good videos because I was a rugby fan myself. So I was always almost making videos for myself. I knew what my community wanted to see because I was a part of that community. So I was making really good videos, and I knew if I just up the game in the thumbnail department, I'll be better than all the competition, which was true. So I upped the game with my thumbnails, and I want to say the next month or the month after that, I cracked 20,000 Rand in a month. And this was now a salary. This was like money that I always dreamed of making. I always thought, oh, if I could just make 20 grand a month, my life would be solved, because I would be able to make that money and have the freedom to do what I want to do. I don't have to wake up at a time that I don't want to wake up. I don't have to go work for someone I don't like. I don't have to sit around people that I just tolerate. I get to do what I want when I want. I am in control of my own life. That's what I wanted. And that's what I finally had when I saw that 20 grand come into my account. It was the best feeling ever. Fast forward that year, I ran that channel. I started one other, which was not monetized yet. So I only had one monetized channel in the year of 2020, and it made me a little over 300,000 Rand for the year. This was insane to me. 300,000 Rand was life-changing money to a kid who was always broke, who never had money, but always wanted freedom. I now had that freedom, and I had that money coming in. And I had the reassurance that this is something that can actually work. I can scale this. I can make a ton more money. So that's when I started another channel. And the next year, 2021, which is now my second year of earning money, I made more than 1 million Rand for the year off of my 2 YouTube Faceless channels. And I have never made less than 1 million Rand in a year since then. In fact, I've done multi-million Rands every year since then. And I've had a ton more monetized channels. I've had a ton more failed channels as well. That's one thing I want you to remember. I do not know some secret hack that guarantees every channel I touch is going to blow up. I just understand that this is something that can make you money. And if you put a ton of work into it, it will make you money eventually. So I've failed with way more channels than I've succeeded with. But it's my relentlessness, it's my persistence that gets me those monetized channels. So that's kind of the story of how I've gotten to this point of making a ton of money. I build faceless YouTube channels. I get them monetized. I make money from ad revenue as well as sponsorships, which is also a complete game changer. I can still remember, just as a side note, the first sponsorship deal I ever got on one of my channels was from Manscaped. And at the time, they reached out to me saying, hey, they want to sponsor my video. How much would I charge for a 1-minute segment? And I had no clue. I thought, I don't know, if you guys just sent me a free product, I'd probably market it for you. You don't even have to pay me. But I didn't say that. I fished around. I said, well, what's your budget? How much would you usually pay? XYZ. They paid me 86,000 Rand for a 1-minute segment on one video. That is the power of this faceless YouTube model. You can make so much money from sponsors. You can also make so much money from ad revenue. And that's why I make millions of Rands a year doing this. And the most beautiful part about it is you don't need anything to start. You just need drive. That's it. You don't need money. You don't need fancy equipment. You don't need the best of the best subscriptions. If you have drive, if you have determination, you will make this work. Now, let me talk a little bit about the channels that I actually run. My main channels are sports compilation channels. They're by far the simplest channels to start and run, and you can do them officially with licensed content as well. So I build the channels, get them to monetization in certain sports niches, and then I actually am partnered with a rights distributor that gives me official license to work with promotions like One Championship, Octagon MMA, Top Rank Boxing, Bundesliga, La Liga. The list goes on. So this is not some sketchy, risky business. This is a real, legitimate business with contracts in place, with rights and licenses in place, with a legitimate business setup that I pay tax for. This is a real business. This isn't some quick gimmick. This isn't some scheme. This is something that could start off as a side hustle and quickly become a thriving multi-million Rand a year business. And let me tell you this, I never had a mentor. I never had a coach. I made this happen completely by myself, and you can too. But if you do want to learn from me, the best and most cost-effective way for you to do that is to join my 1-week challenge. Just click the link in the description below. It'll take you to my site where everything is explained. In the course of 1 week, I'll show you how to build a channel exactly like one of the ones that makes me millions of rands a year. And it will give you the opportunity to get in my system and work with rights holders and build a legitimate YouTube empire. But that's only if you want to. It's not a requirement for success. It's just a luxury for the people who want to and can afford it. And that's pretty much it. That's my story. I hope it's inspired you. Please leave comments, ask me questions, give this video a like so more people see it and hopefully more lives get changed.